When you think of North Carolina, what's the first thing that comes to mind? The Tar Heel State? First in flight, Blackbeard and his famous excursions. Maybe it's the Neuse River. And if you dig a little deeper, New Bern, the birthplace of Pepsi Cola. I bet the name John Moore isn't at the top of the list. But soon, Mr. John Moore and others like him, their stories will be shared and their lives will be honored.
Our talk was to create a video since we won't be able to do another signage event. We've already done the soil collection.
In order to understand the life and murder of Mr. John Moore, we have to start in Wilmington, North Carolina. On November 10th, 1898, the Wilmington Race Massacre took place. This is North Carolina's first successful coup, when a lawfully elected government of black and white people was overturned by 2,000 armed white supremacists. As many as 200 people were potentially murdered, and thousands displaced as a result of the violence, hatred, and mass terror. President McKinley was informed of the plans of the coup, and according to records, it shows he did not send aid before and after this occurrence. The massacre was often referred to as a riot, which is incorrect. This was carefully planned and constructed to cause immense harm and social injury to the foundation of the growing city. The North Carolina legislature eventually approved the coup-appointed government. In 1898, Wilmington was the largest city in North Carolina with a majority African-American population, 56%, which has now dropped to, depending on what resource you're looking at, 14% or 16.3%. At that time, blacks were very successful in Wilmington, with a black-owned newspaper, black-owned businesses, and black politicians, and integrated neighborhoods.
The person who was behind that was still active in New Bern and had tried a coup in New Bern. Well, not tried, had accomplished a coup. Yeah, suspended the charter. So when New Bern says it's 300 years old, it's like, you had a suspended charter for a while, thanks to the white supremacists.
Now, having the understanding that New Bern, North Carolina was the birthplace for white supremacy in North Carolina, you have to understand Mr. John Moore went through a lot as a black man from Dover working in the lumber mills, and he was accused of a crime he did not commit, and he was innocently lynched. We don't have any information or records on his life, except that he was accused of a crime and therefore died. This beautiful, cozy, warm building is definitely different than what Mr. John Moore would have remembered. And think about what Mr. John Moore would have felt in the county jail. And I know we don't have record that he was held at City Hall. And picture being afraid, not knowing what was coming next. And the powerful thing for me was ultimately having the choice to walk out the door. A choice Mr. Moore didn't have. Every day we take for granted all of the choices and liberties we have that others weren't afforded just a few years ago. I really wanted this project to be a reflection of where we have came from. We have grown so much as a community, but we know that there's still a lot more to do. And this is the spot where Mr. John Moore's life was sadly taken. When he transitioned over to the other side, did he meet his other family members? Mom, Dad, Grandma, Grandpa? Or were they still here on Earth, waiting for him to arrive back home? Were they aware of his lynching? Did they choose not to seek revenge on the individuals that took their loved one's life? We won't know. But what we can do is send Mr. John Moore off peacefully and respectfully. He was a man that worked in the lumber mills, lost limbs and their dignity trying to make sure that they could provide for their family and future generations. So let's not take this for granted, and let's remember John Moore today and every day. if he knew the impact this night would have on him and his community. A hardworking, kind, loving individual. And yes, we don't know him, but I know him. And just reflecting on how that could have been me or one of my ancestors, I want to make sure that he is properly honored, that somebody knows that he was loved, that somebody cared for him, and that we'll continue to make sure him and others like him get justice.
I visited the National Lynching Memorial in Montgomery, Alabama, and found the name of a family member. So I pray you never see yourself in your history the way I've had to see myself in mine. Got trauma, drama, and lynching all up in my bloodline. When we express anger about the damage that's been done, you just refuse to see why. I can't talk about my relatives that were killed by white supremacists because you'll call it CRT or DEI. I pray you'll never have to see yourself in your history the way I've had to see myself in mine. To have thousands of your loved ones hung from trees or set ablaze because some white folks falsely say that they were guilty of a crime. 5 white men killed a member of my family over the sum of 200 dimes. The memorial in Montgomery, Alabama carries the names of over 4,400 victims of racial terror lynchings between 1877 and 1950. Many lynched in front of white crowds where no one was held accountable or found guilty. Many tortured by sadistic white mobs who watched with delight as they ate popcorn and drank lemonade or whiskey. This memorial is comprised of over 800 steel monuments bearing these victims' names. Black people who were murdered by domestic terrorists who held no shame. Terrorists who dismembered black bodies for sport, since killing us has always been this country's favorite game. The past informs our understanding of the present, and we have to reckon with it to heal. So it's time to be real. And I hope that you finally get to the root of the strange fruit that America loves to keep on its vines. And I pray that you'll never have to see yourself in your history the way I've had to see myself in mine. Thank you.